The Israelites, guided by Moses, who is guided by the Lord, have made their way across the Red Sea. It parted for them, got out of their way so they could simply walk across, and the land was dry. It was not like a mud thing or something where they'd get swallowed up. It was probably hard, compacted, easy to walk on dirt. They had children and animals, so they made it across. The Egyptians, they came after them, barreling after them. And they didn't look to the left or the right. They just looked straight ahead at the Israelites and they came after them. For their hearts were hardened and their perception of reality was askewed. And they didn't seem to notice or take heed to what they saw and continued after them. And then when the sea was no longer parted, it came crushing down upon the Egyptians, and the horsemen and the chariots and the infantry or whatever, they were kind of swept away, and of course many of them died. Probably the majority of them died. It's very hard to swim in plate mail, and I think when this river, like when it sealed itself up after the parting, it was probably very turbulent water. And very turbulent water is very difficult to swim in, especially if you aren't a master swimmer. And even if you are, turbulent water is a death trap. So that's the end of them. Now Pharaoh, he could have been there with them, or he could have been at the ledge guiding his troops and saw his whole army destroyed before his eyes, watching the Israelites escape. Exodus 15:1. Then Moses and the Israelites sang this song to the Lord, saying, I will sing to the Lord, for he has triumphed gloriously. The horse and his rider, or its chariot, has he thrown into the sea. 15:2. The Lord is my strength and my song, and he has become my salvation. This is my God, and I will praise him, my father's God, and I will exalt him. 15:3. The Lord is a man of war. The Lord is his name. This was certainly a major triumph. The Israelites have been in bondage, in slavery in Egypt for 470 years. Although it probably didn't start off that bad, and it got kind of worse over time, so still a very long time that they were down there as labor. And here we go. They are now delivered out of the hand of the Egyptians by the hand of God. He pulled them out of there. He reached down, he grabbed them and pulled them out of the land of Egypt to take them to the promised land. So they're really happy. They're really excited. And they don't know this yet, but it is going to be a very long journey to the promised land. The spirit is always very high at the start of something, but it's whether it can endure to the end is the real test. 15:4. Pharaoh's chariots and his host he has cast into the sea. His chosen captains also are sunk in the Red Sea. 15:5. The floods cover them. They sank in the depths like a stone. 15:6. Your right hand, O Lord, it's glorious in power. Your right hand, O Lord, shatters the enemy. The thing that I've really noticed, and I could be completely wrong about this, is that the Israelites, they're really celebrating the destruction of Pharaoh and Pharaoh's army. They're really impressed with that. That was something that really got them going. And they're singing, they're praising the Lord for that destruction. They're not excited about the part where God is taking him out of the land of Egypt and leading him towards the promised land. That doesn't seem to be their major concern. Their major concern seems to be more with getting even, getting the Egyptians, getting back at them for all their abuse. When God has so much more planned for them and such a higher calling than this, it seems very surface level. And it seems like they don't really understand what's going on. And I think God's going to explain it a little bit more clearly as we go on to what exactly is the purpose of his covenant with these people and their fathers and their father's father's father. The God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, right? Exodus 15:7. In the greatness of your majesty, you overthrew those rising against you. You send forth your fury, it consumes them like stubble. 15 and 8. With the blast of your nostrils, the waters piled up. The floods stood fixed in a heap. The depths congealed in the heart of the sea. 15 and 9. The enemy said, I will pursue, I will overtake, I will divide the spoil. My desire shall be satisfied upon them. I will draw my sword, my hand shall destroy them. 15 and 10. You, Lord, blew with your wind, the sea covered them. They sank as lead in the mighty waters. 15:11. Who is like you, O Lord, among the gods? Who is like you, glorious in holiness, awesome in splendor, doing wonders? The song that they're singing is kind of cool because it's almost a direct recap of the events that they just saw. They're repeating it over and over again to remember it, for it's an important event in the history of the Israelites. Exodus 15 and 12. You stretch out your right hand, the earth's sea swallowed them. 15:13. You in your mercy and loving kindness have led forth the people whom you have redeemed. You have guided them in your strength to your holy habitation. This is a continuation of that thought we saw a couple chapters ago with the idea of the Lord taking possession of the firstborn, the idea of redeeming or to make the payment to take something back. So this is the Lord taking back the people of Israel from the Egyptians who had possession of them, that he is redeeming them. And the second part of this sounds like we're going to Mount Sinai, the location of the burning bush where Moses first encountered the Lord, to receive further instruction. Exodus 15:14. The people have heard it. They tremble. Pangs have taken hold of the inhabitants of Philistia. So now this song that they are singing is referencing other parts in the world, how they will respond to this event that has occurred, and what is exactly going on elsewhere. What's going on in Canaan? What's going on in all these different parts in and around the Egypt area? Exodus 15:15. Now the chiefs of Edom are dismayed. The mighty men of Moab, renowned for strength, trembling takes hold of them. All inhabitants of Canaan have melted away little by little. Not entirely sure, but this sounds like a reference to the land of Canaan, when after the Israelites left, who was able to fill that power vacuum and kind of take power of the land. And then maybe they had power for a while, then that kind of shifted around so that there would be different groups in control of the land while the Israelites are down in the land of Egypt. What happened in Canaan while they were gone, so to say. Exodus 15 and 16. Terror and dread fall upon them because of the greatness of your arm. They are still as a stone till your people pass by and over into Canaan. O Lord, till the people pass by whom you have purchased. So again, we have that idea of the redeeming, that the Lord has redeemed Israel out of the Egyptians, regained possession of it, and he's taking them to the promised land. And all those people that are there in the promised land, in the land of Canaan, are going to need to get out of the way. And this is kind of a comparison of the power of God, that, they're not going to be that significant of a resistance, that God can just kind of wipe them out. Exodus 15:17. You will bring them into the land and plant them on your own mountain, the place, O Lord, you have made for your dwelling, the sanctuary, O Lord, which your hands have established. 15 and 18. The Lord will reign forever and ever. This is a really crazy song because there's parts of this describing events as they've experienced them, but there's other ones that are prophecies of the future to come. So it's really all over the place, and it's kind of really progressive in that, right? Exodus 15 and 19. For the horses of Pharaoh went with his chariots and horsemen into the sea, and the Lord brought back the waters of the sea upon them. But the Israelites walked on dry ground in the midst of the sea. 15 and 20. Then Miriam, the prophetess, the sister of Aaron, took a timbrel in her hand, and all the women went out after her with timbrels and dancing. 15 and 21. And Miriam responded to them, sing to the Lord, for he has triumphed gloriously and is highly exalted. The horse and his rider he has thrown into the sea. So, has the song gone full circle, and now we're at the exact moment of when they started singing? That Miriam was the one that kind of started the singing process? Is that kind of what we got going on here? That seems kind of interesting. Exodus 15:22. Then Moses led Israel onward from the Red Sea, and they went into the wilderness of Shur. They went 3 days in the wilderness and found no water. Approximately 33 miles. The thing that I don't really get about the closing of the Red Sea is like the positioning. Were the Israelites, on the other side when they closed the river and the Egyptians were behind them and they just kind of went in, or were they still in the midst of crossing the river? And maybe some people were already across. They probably went in like a big column or something. So some of them are across, some of them are still crossing, and then the river's kind of closing up behind them as they're going. Like, I don't really know exactly logistically how that plays out. I mean, the end result's the same. All the Egyptians, they don't do so well, and the Israelites, they continue on to go into the wilderness. So it's kind of an interesting scenario. And there's kind of verses that I don't know if they're ambiguous or I'm just not understanding. More likely the latter than the former. Of like exactly the logistics of how that went down. So I don't know. We'll see. Exodus 15:23. When they came to Marah, they could not drink its water, for they were bitter. Therefore it was named Marah, meaning bitterness. 15 and 24. The people murmured against Moses, saying, what shall we drink? So they've been on a journey for a few days now. I don't know how much water they were able to bring into the wilderness, whether or not they had vessels or whatever, but 3 days. So they're out of water. They need water to drink, and they find this Mara, this bitter water, and the people are all murmuring, what are we going to drink? This water's not very good. Maybe it was like really harsh on the stomach or something, make them sick type of thing, give them dysentery. Not a good experience, and they're all murmuring against Moses. Here we go. Here is the faith of people. They've just witnessed the destruction of Pharaoh's army with this miraculous miracle of the sea parting. And it doesn't take very long for them to be murmuring against Moses, even after seeing these wondrous and fantastic sights. As if God brought him out of Egypt through all these miracles just to simply let them die from thirst. What a crazy event, right? Although we really don't know the severity of this level of murmuring, how bad it was. Maybe it was like, we could use some water here, Moses. Or it could be some more severe, sinister thing. It's like, is this guy really the one leading us here? Or was this just like a coincidence? And they're not really quite so sure. So, I don't know. Either way, they're murmuring, and they just have a lack of faith that Moses will be able to get them through this. Although there is something to be said about asking God for things. Like, is it wrong to ask? Is that a lack of faith to ask God for something? I don't know. I don't think it is. I mean, you ask him because you think he can provide. He can lead you out of a bad situation if you come to him and ask for help, right? You know, maybe instead of murmuring against Moses, they should have been praying towards the Lord. I don't know. We'll see what happens here. Certainly is a difficult situation either way, being without water. Exodus 15 and 25. And he cried to the Lord, and the Lord showed him a tree, which he cast into the waters, and the waters were made sweet. There the Lord made them a statute and an ordinance, and there he approved them. 15:26, saying, If you will diligently hearken to the voice of the Lord your God, and will do what is right in his sight, and will listen to and obey his commandments, and keep all his statutes, I will put none of the diseases upon you which I brought upon the Egyptians, for I am the Lord who heals you. Well, this is certainly impressive. So first we have this idea of casting this tree into the water, and then that kind of fixes the water so that they're able to drink it. They're able to fill whatever vessels they have with them, for they are on a journey and they need as much water as they can, good water. But the second part of this thing here, with the idea of obedience to the Lord and doing what he wants, leading to this blessing of being immune to diseases, like, that is absolutely incredible. I will put none of the diseases upon you which I brought upon the Egyptians, so they don't have to suffer through all those plagues and things that went on there. So I don't know, that's pretty impressive. I do wonder if it was like one of those group things that if everybody had to do it and then they would receive the blessing, or if it was like an individual thing where each person had to do their part, and if they did their part, then they would be fine. I don't know. It could go either way, but I guess we'll probably see later on exactly how that plays out. Exodus 15 and 27. And they came to Elim, where there were 12 springs of water and 70 palm trees, and they encamped there by the waters. So there we go. We've reached the end of the chapter. So in this chapter, we witnessed the song and dance, singing about the glory of God and the greatness of God for delivering them out of the hand of the Egyptians. And then they moved into the wilderness and into the forest. And then they came upon a spring of water, and they weren't able to drink it. And then Moses tossed the tree in, and they were able to. So then they were able to receive the water, and they continued on their journey. And now they have stopped at Elim, and we'll see what happens there in the next chapter.